Hello everyone and welcome back to Dota Underlords. Today we're going to be doing something very special. This will be no regular gameplay, but an introduction/guide type video. We are going to be taking a closer look at this game's awesome single player mode that shipped together with Season 1. This mode is of course called City Crawl. While playing it, you must face both pre-made challenges created by the game's developers, as well as human opponents, as your tactical prowess, strategic planning, and even math skills are put to the test. At this point in time, a lot of people have probably completed this mode already, so they might say this video is coming out surprisingly late. However, I know some players who are actively playing this game every day, but have never bothered trying out City Crawl, and in my humble opinion, they are missing out on a great, fun experience. And fun is what video games are made for, right? If you're one of those people, maybe this video can sway you to finally give this mode a try. And if you're a beginner, this mode might be a great place to start. After you complete the tutorial, that is. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin our tour, before our short attention span catches up to us. As the name implies, the story of Dota Underlords takes place in the same world as Dota 2. To be exact, this time it is set in the city of White Spire, a classic wretched hive of scum and villainy, where laws are constantly bent, broken, and made up anew by criminal warlords who have gravitated towards this place from every corner of the world. None of them, however, were quite as powerful as a relatively innocent-looking lady named Mama Eve. She was the boss of bosses, the queenpin of all the gangsters, and none dared defy her will. Until one night, an unfortunate accident abruptly ended her glorious life, leaving the throne empty. What happens when such an important figure of authority dies? Well, naturally, the pillars of the local society gather in a great hall to pay respects to the late godmother, discuss other recent news, and try to set up a process by which a successor may be elected. Who am I kidding? We all know the answer is gang war. The player's mission is to take up arms as one of the 4 prospective heirs of Mama Eve's seat of power, also known as Underlords, not to be confused with that Underlord, and establish a foothold in the city, allowing your Underlord to make a bid for total control and actually have a reasonable chance of success, as opposed to getting their rear end handed to them by quite literally everyone else. Which vile face of corruption is your favorite? We've got Hobgen, a merry fairy lad with a jolly Irish accent and an obsession with fire so deep he's burned most of his own wings off.
Let me tell you a little secret about love. It's not just a beautiful thing. No, it's a powerful thing.
There's an Essex, a demonic lady with leg who knows secrets even you don't know about yourself, graciously donates blood to heal her allies, and can totally make you sell your soul and feel like the happiest man in the known universe, even though you got absolutely nothing in return. Also, she doesn't attack or move around in combat. At all. Classy. Meet Joel, an anthropomorphic walrus who got all of the fat but none of the agility of the source species. Is supposed to have a Scandinavian accent but uses Russian words, and always has a cup of wine in hand. Seriously, he drinks from that cup, hits enemies with that cup, talks with that cup, sleeps with that cup, that cup, and it never goes empty.
We will fight, we will win, and we will drink.
Say hello to Enno, a creature so obscure that even the narrator isn't sure what it is.
Weird, raccoonish looking thing.
But will poop into your boots nonetheless, and shoot you full of poisonous darts if you try to punish it. It also speaks fluent Donald Duck, and is so hyperactive that it can barely stay on screen for 5 seconds. Every Underlord has set their sights on one of 4 different areas of White Spire, known as quarters. In order to take over the respective quarter, you must overcome all of the challenges located therein. Every completed challenge grants you a reward. Some rewards can be immediately put to use as equipable items that will help you in your future battles in the city. Other rewards are cosmetic items that can alter the look of your Underlord, make your in-game portrait more menacing, or allow you to decorate your battlefield with pumpkins, statues, zombies, and zombie statues. Some still take the form of a bag of strange blue gems, which transform at a 1-to-1 ratio into experience points for your battle pass. That battle pass, meanwhile, grants you even more similar cosmetic items as it levels up. Some people may be disappointed. Really? I have been working so hard on this thing and all I get is junk to make myself look a little fancier. Trust me, while it may not seem like it provides any gameplay advantage, as a Team Fortress 2 veteran, I can tell you, higher tier cosmetics allow you to establish dominance over the opposition, in some cases even causing the other guy to tilt that one extra inch that pushes him over the edge, causing him to quit immediately and uninstall the game. If you're good at a particular game, a fancy dress is all it may take to win, even with no direct gameplay advantage. The challenges presented to you are divided into 3 categories: street fights, puzzles, and objectives. Let's look at each of them individually to see what they're all about. Street fights are the bread and butter of the single-player experience. In these, your goal is to build a crew of heroes that can overpower the enemy crew, which you can clearly see and position against on the board in front of yours. The rules are very similar to the knockout multiplayer game mode. You can pick your starting crew with 2 heroes and 2 alliances visible. You start with 5 heroes that cannot give you money when sold. Heroes are upgraded when you possess 2 copies of the same one instead of 3. And instead of health, there is a limited set of lives, with 1 life lost per round loss. The key differences are that you possess an Underlord while your opponent does not. You gain obscene amounts of gold every round, and that both combatants have 2 lives instead of 4, so every encounter is a best of 3 match at most. You will be level 6 on the first round, 8 on the second, and 10 on the third. As you progress further into the chosen Underlords quarter, the street fights become more challenging, with the opposing forces having more active alliances, more upgraded heroes, and stronger items on them. However, to counteract that, you also unlock more items of your own, allowing you to equip normally late-game gear like Radiance or Shiva's Guard as early as round 1. Eventually, you'll unlock so many items that you won't have enough heroes to put them on. Although the choice between a headdress and a moonshard isn't particularly hard, so it's not like you'll get a headache choosing which items to play and which to set aside. Every quarter features 19 street fights to participate in, meaning there is a grand total of 76 on the map. If you feel like laughing at weak starting opponents while using a crew featuring a full late-game item loadout, you can replay the first street fights you've been to, but otherwise there isn't much reason to do it. These fights do a great job of highlighting the power of having an Underlord on your side, as those extra abilities can give you an edge even against an enemy crew with more upgrades and stronger items than your own. They also encourage you to try out as many different builds as possible, because while you might be able to defeat any opponent with any crew of your choosing, picking a lineup to counter the opponent's alliances is still the optimal way. It makes the outcome a lot less RNG dependent, since you might not need that many 2 or 3 star heroes if your alliances and abilities are already a good matchup against the enemies. Puzzles are unique encounters that put a wild twist on the default Underlord's battle formula. You have no access to an Underlord. Any items that you've accumulated for those street fights are nowhere to be seen, and there is a plethora of limitations that you have to meet in order to solve the puzzle. The goal is usually the same: kill all opposing heroes, or in some cases a single opposing hero, but with all the limitations, the process can get quite complicated, as your crew struggles to punch through 10 tombstones, a triple dose of a 3-star Bloodseeker with Divine Rapier, and other ridiculous combinations not possible in a normal game. Limitations include having a relatively low number of heroes, usually 6 at most, a cap on your army cost, basically the same thing as having limited gold in a real game, except none of it is wasted on rolls, a maximum number of items to use, which are also selected from a very limited pool unique to each puzzle, and having a limited number of heroes to choose from. There are, however, upsides to this madness. Thanks to the unique interface presented in this mode, any hero you want, as long as they are allowed, can be picked up and deployed immediately without the need to roll. They can be upgraded to 2 or even 3 stars with just a few clicks on the model while it's already on the board, while adding, upgrading, and removing units from play does not result in losing any gold or have any other downside whatsoever. In addition, no one is preventing you from making ridiculous crews that would normally be impossible, like upgrading your Troll Warlord to 3 stars right away, while the rest of the heroes are mostly or completely deprived of upgrades. And trust me, such a crew can in fact work. There is only one round, and so, if you win, the challenge is considered complete, and if you lose, the board will be brought right back to the state it was when you press the Proceed to Combat button. There are 4 puzzles accessible per quarter, which makes a grand total of 16. As with the street fights, the puzzles become more challenging as you progress through a quarter. Unlike with street fights, there is a valid reason to replay them besides furiously stroking one's own ego. Well, it actually involves some of that activity as well, but at least there is an in-game metric that measures how awesome you are. You can find a solution that completes the puzzle faster, and see your completion time in relation to the global one, as well as your friends' records, provided they've completed that puzzle as well. Overall, this mode is a great exercise for one's brain, as it challenges not only your positioning skills and knowledge of the units and alliances, but also your resource management capabilities and ability to think outside the box. Objectives are the third type of challenge your Underlord will face in their quest for domination over those dirty streets and shady residents. Unlike the 2 other types, these challenges must be completed not by repeatedly facing pre-made armies in a set of PvE encounters, but instead by playing matches against regular players like you normally do. The tasks are similar to the daily quests that give you Battle Pass experience. You can be asked to heal your units a certain amount of life, deal a certain amount of damage, or complete a win streak, but with a catch. The objective is only considered complete when you have the corresponding Underlord in play. For example, if you choose an Essex as your Underlord in a given match, who is the only correct choice, you don't want to make the mistress angry, do you? And complete a Heal Your Units objective, the healing will only count towards an Essex's quarter progress, even if you have a similar objective in Jal or Enno's domain. Sometimes objectives also have extra requirements, such as dealing damage with the members of particular alliance, but those aren't very noteworthy. You see, you don't actually need to have that alliance activated. If the objective says, deal 10,000 damage with Void heroes, you can play a few games of Spirit Mages, and any damage attributed to your Void Spirit during those games will count towards that objective, as long as you pick the Underlord who has it. A little tip, you probably shouldn't pick your Underlord just to complete a certain city crawl objective. If your Underlord doesn't fit neatly into your crew, or doesn't match it at all, you can drastically reduce your chances of finishing in top 4, or worse still, discover a new viable strategy that will be quickly broadcast to Reddit, and then every game will be filled with at least 4 players trying that build. And we don't want our fun little secrets to be violated by everyone wanting a piece of them, do we? There are 14 objectives per quarter, making the total amount on the map 56. Due to their nature and the factors described above, you probably won't be paying too much attention to them, and instead will be pleasantly surprised whenever you see new rewards available after completing a multiplayer match. Hey, who doesn't like free stuff, or stuff you receive for things you would be doing anyway, which is essentially the same thing? There are separate rewards to be received for finishing a single quarter, beating all challenges of the same type, and fully completing the entirety of City Crawl. Unlike most other cosmetics you get for progression, these take the form of grandiose titles wrapped in fancy frames that will appear under your player portrait during gameplay. And if you find the cosmetics you unlock enjoyable and love the gameplay in general, purchasing the Battle Pass is definitely a worthy investment. It may sound strange for someone to promote an in-game item while having no direct involvement with it, but it has to do more with the game itself. The Battle Pass is the only way Dota Underlords is monetized. While this game is owned by a gigantic company called Valve Software, and the development team's financial stability is virtually guaranteed, having separate development teams means that if the corporate overlords don't find the project profitable, they may very well scrap it and redistribute their resources to other, more lucrative ones. I absolutely love this game, flawed as it is, and I'm convinced that the spare money you spend on it will benefit everyone in the long run. since it will let the developers and the higher-ups know that they should continue working on the game and making us, the players, happy. To wrap it up, the City Crawl single-player mode is a fun and challenging experience that, while it can get somewhat repetitive and could probably use more dimensions to its name, still provides a welcome bit of variety, showing that there is much potential still hidden within this game in particular, and the auto battler genre in general. Like I said in the beginning, if you play this game and you still haven't tried this mode, definitely give it a shot, and when you do, come back to this video and tell me if it was actually worth checking out, or if I am a liar under the evil thrall of one particularly seductive eldritch mistress and deserve to be damned into eternal slave labor. If you enjoy this video, don't forget to like, share it, and subscribe so I can actually find the energy to get my lazy rear bumper off the couch and make some more videos like this one. For now, I must take my leave, so goodbye, and take care, everybody.